From the electrifying streets of São Paulo, where football is a way of life, to the grand stage of Old Trafford, where legends are made, Antony Mateus dos Santos has always been a player who demands attention. Sometimes like a magician, sometimes like a madman. Once seen as one of the final torchbearers of Joga Bonito, his mesmerizing skills and audacious flair evoke memories of Brazil's footballing artistry. Yet, for every breathtaking dribble, there's a moment of frustration, and with a staggering price tag hanging over his head, the pressure has never been greater. But beyond the tricks, the criticism, and the endless debates, who really is Antony? This is the story of Brazil and Manchester United's enigmatic winger, his rise, his struggles, and the path that brought him from the favelas of São Paulo to the grand stage of world football. Born in Osasco, Brazil, Antony grew up in the favelas, where football wasn't just a game, it was his ticket out of despair. His childhood was shaped by the harsh realities of poverty, with crime, drugs, and violence a constant presence around him. In his own words, "I was born in hell." That's not a joke. For my European friends who don't know, the favela where I grew up in São Paulo is actually called Inferninho. 15 steps from our front door, there were always drug dealers doing their business, passing stuff hand to hand. We were so used to seeing guns that it was not even scary. They were just a part of everyday life. His family barely made ends meet, and at times, they couldn't even afford bread. Yet, amid the chaos, football became his refuge. With every day spent playing barefoot on the streets and practicing with makeshift balls, his natural talent began to shine through. Antony soon realized he had something special, God-given talent, especially with the ball at his feet. His dribbling was instinctual, and on those rough, cracked asphalt pitches, he learned that when you step onto that field, everyone is equal. It didn't matter who he was up against. I would elastico the drug dealers, rainbow the bus drivers, nutmeg the thieves. I really did not give a f***. With a ball at my feet, I had no fear. His talent wasn't just about skills. It was a statement, a way of showing that nothing could hold him back, not even the hardest life he came from. Perhaps it was this very upbringing that not only forged the fearless player he would become, but also shaped the way he played the game, with an unshakable confidence and a flair that seemed almost defiant. For Antony, the beautiful game wasn't just an escape. It was the path that would eventually lead others to recognize his potential. Eventually, São Paulo FC saw the raw talent he possessed, and that breakthrough changed everything. It catapulted him from the streets of Osasco to a future that would take him far beyond the favelas, opening doors to a world he had only dreamed of. At São Paulo, Antony rose through the ranks quickly. His performances for the youth team earned him a senior debut in 2018. Soon, he was dazzling fans with his pace, close control, and signature left-footed strikes. His breakthrough season came in 2019, when he became a key figure in São Paulo's attack, forming an exciting partnership with Pablo and Alexandre Pato. Pablo's physical presence and goal-scoring instincts, combined with Pato's experience and technical ability, created a well-balanced attacking unit, making São Paulo's forward line unpredictable. His link-up play with Dani Alves, who had joined the club that year, further enhanced his game, as the veteran's overlapping runs and vision allowed Antony to exploit spaces and create chances. With each game, Antony's confidence grew. His ability to take on multiple defenders, combined with his vision and creativity, made him one of the most exciting young prospects in Brazilian football. Watching him glide past defenders with a blend of speed and elegance, Antony embodied the artistry that has defined Brazilian football for generations. He brought Joga Bonito to life, proving that its essence was well and truly alive. By 2020, Antony's electrifying performances had caught the attention of European clubs. earning him a move to Ajax and marking the end of his time at São Paulo midway through the season. However, before departing his homeland, his immense contributions had already helped lay the groundwork for the club's success, culminating in the 2021 Campeonato Paulista title. This triumph was particularly significant, as it ended São Paulo's 9-year trophy drought and reaffirmed its status among Brazil's elite. In the summer of 2020, Amsterdam was swept up in a wave of excitement as Antony arrived from Brazil, joining the Dutch giants Ajax for a fee of €15.75 million from São Paulo. Known for their commitment to developing young talent and playing an attacking brand of football, Ajax saw immense potential in Antony and quickly integrated him into their squad. His arrival marked the start of a thrilling new chapter in his career, one that would see him shine on the European stage. Under the guidance of manager Erik ten Hag, Antony's talents quickly flourished. Ten Hag was the perfect mentor for Antony, due to his tactical understanding and commitment to attacking football. The Dutch manager quickly recognized Antony's standout qualities, seamlessly integrating him into the team. In a squad that boasted established talents like Dusan Tadic, Hakim Ziyech, and David Neres, Antony found the ideal environment to refine his skills and assert his presence. During his first season at Ajax, Antony hit the ground running, making an immediate impact in the Eredivisie. His dazzling dribbling and pinpoint crosses became a nightmare for defenders across the league. He showcased his ability to not only beat players one-on-one, but also contribute consistently with goals and assists. By the end of his first season, Antony had helped Ajax secure their second consecutive Eredivisie title, further solidifying his reputation as one of the most exciting young wingers in Europe. However, the following summer brought a major change to the squad, with the departure of Hakim Ziyech to Chelsea. This opened the door for Antony to seize his opportunity. Quickly adapting to the increased responsibility, he solidified his role as Ajax's main right winger, becoming a key player in their attack. With Ziyech's departure, Antony stepped into the limelight, taking on a more prominent role in both domestic and European competitions. With his sublime flair and unrelenting brilliance, Antony became the heartbeat of Ajax's attack, an indispensable force who dazzled under Erik ten Hag's masterful tactical orchestration, growing more electrifying with every game. As the seasons went by, Antony continued to develop into one of the brightest talents in European football. Ajax and Antony proved to be a match made in heaven. The club's philosophy of nurturing young talent blended seamlessly with Antony's hunger to grow. Their system provided the perfect environment for him to thrive, and it was clear he was destined for even greater things in the years to come. By the summer of 2022, Antony had become more than just a rising star. He was a headline act. His name echoed across Europe, and it became clear to the football world Antony was destined for the grandest stage. That moment came when he answered the call of a familiar voice, his former mentor, Erik ten Hag, now at the helm of Manchester United.
Breaking news, Manchester United confirmed they have reached a deal to sign Antony worth £86 million.
One of the most talked about deals of the summer. It wasn't just a signing, it was a statement. Ten Hag, now rebuilding the identity of the Red Devils, saw Antony as the spark his team desperately needed. For Antony, the move wasn't just a career step, it was a continuation of a special bond. The Premier League brought a new level of intensity, physicality, and pressure. But as always, Antony rose to the occasion. On his debut against Arsenal, he lit up Old Trafford with a composed finish, instantly endearing himself to the fans and proving he belonged on English football's brightest stage. At United, Antony brought a fresh injection of flair and unpredictability to the right wing. Despite the weight of expectations and constant scrutiny over his price tag, Antony remained unfazed. Backed by Ten Hag's trust and the roar of the Old Trafford faithful, he embraced the challenge, linking up with stars like Rashford and Fernandes, and steadily carving out his place in the team's future. And with the stage set, the lights bright, and the world watching, Antony's mission was just beginning to become a legend in red. What began as a dream reunion under the lights of Old Trafford soon took a darker, more turbulent turn. In the months following his explosive debut, Antony's spark began to flicker. The pace of the Premier League, relentless media scrutiny, and mounting pressure weighed heavily on the young Brazilian. His trademark flair, once a source of joy and excitement, became a target for criticism. Every misplaced pass, every missed chance was magnified. The fans grew restless.
Antony! Hell!
Pundits questioned his ability to adapt, and while Antony tried to maintain focus, the storm clouds above Manchester only grew darker. Meanwhile, Erik ten Hag, his guiding force, was fighting his own battles. Results dipped. The team lacked rhythm, injuries piled up, and with every defeat, the pressure on the Dutchman intensified. The manager, who had once turned Ajax into a symphony of youth and creativity, now found himself caught in the chaos of an unforgiving Premier League. Eventually, the inevitable happened.
Manchester United have sacked their manager, Erik ten Hag.
For Antony, the news hit like a hammer blow. The man who had believed in him from day one was gone. And with him, so too went the structure, the trust, and the system in which Antony had flourished. But the challenges didn't end there. Off the pitch, darker headlines began to emerge. Whispers turned to reports. And soon, Antony found himself embroiled in a behind-the-scenes scandal, one that blurred the lines between his personal and professional life. The media frenzy intensified. Questions were asked not just about his form, but about his character. The club, under new leadership, could no longer ignore the mounting distractions. Antony was sidelined, dropped from the starting lineup, and left watching from the bench as others stepped into his role. For the first time in his career, football no longer felt like freedom. It felt like pressure, like noise, like a spotlight too bright to stand beneath. But in that darkness, something inside Antony began to stir. A quiet, desperate longing, not for fame, not for redemption, not even for the adoration of the fans, but simply to feel the joy of football again. Because no matter how far he had fallen, the game still lived within him. And now, the road back wasn't about proving people wrong, it was about rediscovering the joy that had once made him fall in love with the beautiful game. When Ruben Amorim took over at Manchester United, there was an air of optimism that swept through the club. The Portuguese manager was hailed as a tactician capable of breathing new life into a team that had been stumbling in the shadows. Amorim's reputation for revitalizing teams, blending tactical discipline with attacking flair, brought renewed hope to the Red Devils faithful. His arrival was seen as the beginning of a new chapter, one that could finally bring the long-awaited stability and success to United. But for Antony, this hope was not shared. While Amorim quickly forged a connection with the players and transformed the team's approach, the winger found himself once again on the bench, watching from the sidelines as his teammates flourished under the new manager's direction. The manager's faith was placed elsewhere, and Antony was left to reflect on his uncertain future at Old Trafford. It became clear to Antony that his time at United had come to an end. The dream of redemption, of regaining his place at the heart of a Manchester United resurgence, seemed increasingly unlikely. It was time for a change. After months of uncertainty and self-reflection, Antony finally made the bold decision to leave Manchester United, embarking on a new adventure with Real Betis in La Liga. The transfer to Betis wasn't just a change of clubs, it was a change in philosophy, a chance to find a home where his creativity, flair, and attacking brilliance could shine once again. Under Manuel Pellegrini, The experienced Chilean manager, known for his attacking style of play, Antony found himself in a more liberated role. It wasn't about rigid structure or playing to avoid mistakes. It was about playing to express himself, to be the player he had once been. There was no longer a fear of failure, no longer the relentless spotlight of expectation. Antony was playing football for the pure joy of it again. Betis' supporters saw the old Antony emerge from the shadows, and it showed. From his very first match, he began to rekindle the magic that had made him a household name. With every game, he seemed to get better, fitting seamlessly into Pellegrini's fluid, fast-paced system. And now, it seems he has found his ideal environment at Real Betis, a club with less pressure, a league that perfectly suits his style, and a place where he feels truly wanted. But what does this all mean for his future? Can Antony continue to rise and reclaim the form that made him one of the most exciting young talents in football? What are your thoughts on Antony's comeback? Do you think he's found the perfect place to thrive again? Leave your insights in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Antony's career, don't forget to like and subscribe for more football documentaries. Stay tuned for more stories of passion, perseverance, and triumph from the world of football.